What we would like to do, broadly, is finish that trail so that everywhere that you saw the gravel roads and the dirt paths and the grass between Fawnbrook and Lazy J is to put a green belt. And to get it to where you could go from CSI all the way to the canyon rim, and with the plans the city already has in place, get from there all the way to Shoshone Falls without ever having to be walking on the street. Most of that's actually already in the works through the city. And the city has tried to do this. The city has actually put in 2 different proposals to do roughly what we've recommended, looking at grants. And they've both been turned down by the granting agencies. When they submitted this in 2003, the estimated cost was $160,000 for the parts that we've discussed. The city was kind enough to update that for us, working with Dennis Boyer through Parks and Rec, and it's estimated $230,000 through them. Now, that's an estimate. Part of that's going to change. Maybe change up, maybe change down. When we're working at it instead of the city, we've at least got the possibility of reduced cost labor, reduced cost materials. Don't know how much we can do with that, but it's at least a possibility. More importantly, there may very well be a change in construction type. Because the ideal, in the mind of the committee, in the mind of the city as well, from talking to Mitch Humble and Dennis Boyer, would actually be to follow the coulee all the way down. Problem is, right now, that coulee goes right through Lazy J, and funny thing, they don't really want us putting that whole thing through there. However, that section of town is booming, and there's at least consideration that Lazy J may not always be there. So it would be really nice if there was a right-of-way that would mandate that whoever purchases and constructs on that piece of ground is forced to continue the trail system. That already exists. The city has it. So that's not something we have to fight for. That's already there. So what the city had recommended, which was not reflected in these estimates, is where we have the right-of-way that goes straight down between Fawnbrook and Lazy J, run it in a gorgeous asphalt permanent greenbelt trail to that point, and then put it in something like cinders, which will cut down your cost up to the time that the Lazy J is sold and developed, that area is developed, in which case you have another entity that is legally mandated to foot the bill for continuing the trail along the coulee. So that decreases your materials cost. It doesn't give you a time at which that's going to happen. That may be in 5 years, that may be in 25 years, but like I said, that's already on the books. The other thing that's nice is when we started doing this, both Terry McCurdy and Ken Edmonds had told me that the Twin Falls Community Foundation has been looking at this project specifically and already has, I believe the figure was $50,000 in matching grants that we could access with this. So all of a sudden, $230,000 is a pretty good chunk of change. Well, if you can knock 50 off that, that's 180, and you may be able to knock significant amounts off based on how you do the construction. So it was the view of the committee and of the Rotary Board that this is reachable. Okay? Like when we talked about the stairway going to the bottom, you're a little bit stuck. Because you have to build the whole thing or it's absolutely worthless. With this, you can make this piece of the trail system. There are plenty more pieces that we can work on. But as soon as this piece is done and we sign off, we've done something of value to the community. And then if we want to tackle another piece and try to expand it, we've got that option. But at this point, we certainly wouldn't be committed to it. The benefits to this in the mind of the committee, number one, anybody who's driven in that part of the world knows that that's a big growth center for Twin Falls. Like it, don't like it, doesn't matter, it's happening. And having something that's adding to the quality of life rather than the number of cars and parking spaces, I think is a benefit. Second, it connects CSI to the trail system. And I suspect that CSI continues to bring folks in from outside. The other thing that's on that trail system are some of those new hotels. I don't think it's going to hurt their feelings an awful lot to be able to get people from there to CSI, just get on your foot or get on your bike, get there in a hurry without having to drive. It also gives us an opportunity to expand the trail in other ways. And by us, I mean the city of Twin Falls, not necessarily the Rotary Club. Because I think it's very reasonable from sitting down with Dennis and Mitch to see a day when the trail system goes not from here to there, but from the ground at Auger Falls all the way to the ground at Shoshone Falls, and potentially to CSI, and then into the bike trail system that's already present in Twin Falls. That is a system That's a system to be proud of if we can get there. Okay? And second, this requires a lot of buy-in from a lot of people. From Parks and Rec, from the city of Twin Falls, from CSI and the CSI Foundation. I've already spent a lot of time talking to the foundation. I've spent a lot of time talking to the city, spent time talking to the city council members. And everybody who I've spoken to is on the same page. You know, they would love to see this happen. The problem is they don't have a way to foot the bill, and they don't have a way to justify this as a priority to taxpayers. Okay? We don't have to. We don't have to raise taxes. We just have to raise money and get some sweat equity into this. We can do it. Otherwise, it's very unlikely that it's going to get done anytime in the future. So, like I talked about, we do have, this would be partnerships with multiple